Hello, my lovelies. It's King Math, and today I want to show you how to solve this problem, which numbers fit into the red fields, so that all equations are correct. Find all solutions. Okay, so we want to find the numbers that are missing here. I call this number A, this B, C, and D. And we want to find these variables so that all of these equations here are correct. So let's write down the equations. So the first one, we take this one here. So A times B equals 15. The second one, maybe we take this one. A plus C equals 6 or a third and take this C minus D. And the last one is this one here, sub plus D equals 24. 4 equations, 4 variables. So let's try and find a solution for this system of equations. If we take a look at our equations in the first one, we only have the variables A and B, these cond 1, A and C, so as part of the first equation, and these cond equation. And by the way, it's now where else s, so just in the first two, then we have can d's. So this means that s is also only part of these two equations and d's only part of these two equations. So it looks good that we can solve this system of equation by inserting equations into other equations, so that would be the plan. So let's just start somewhere with the first equation, and let's see what we can do there. We have a times b equals 30, so we could solve this equation for a, and then insert the value for a into the second equation here for our a. That would be the plan. So let's solve this equation for we want to get rid of the b, so divide both sides by b. It's always important if you divide by a variable that you make sure that this variable is not equal to 0, because we're not allowed to just divide by 0, but could be b0. If we have a times b equal 30, that's not possible. If b was 0, then we have a multiplied by 0. And this could never be 30, so b is not 0. So it's okay to divide by b here. Then on the left side, this cancels out, and we only have a left, and here we have the 30 over b's. So this is my value for 4, and I want to insert this now where in these cond equations, so that these cond equation looks like this. Instead of I write my 30 over b that I just found, then I have my plus cand on the other side. I have the 6. Okay, let's just solve this equation now for c, because then we can insert this for the third equation, and then we can goon like this, so that's the plan. But first of all, we have to solve this equation for c. So we want to get rid of this part here. So we just subtract it in both sides, and then we get these two cancel out and only c is left, and on the other side we had the 6 and we subtract this part here. So we solved this for c. Now we want to insert this on the next page here for c, but first of all I replace the first equation by this what we found for the first equation, and I replaced on the next page these cond equation by this what we found for these cond equations, so it looks like this. Now this is our first equation, so it is solved for, and the second equation is solved for c, because now we can insert this into the third equation for chair. So we get in the third equation, instead of c, we write it down this part a. Here, so 6 minus 30 over b, then we have the minus, and on the other side we have the 10, and now again we solve this equation now for d, because then we can insert this in the fourth equation for d. So if we want to solve this forward, maybe this time we take this minus and put on the other sides. So can do this by adding d here and add d here as well, so our d will jump from the left side to the right side. So here only these things are left, so the 630 over b, because these two cancel out, and on the other side we had the 10 and we add the d now to solve for d. We just want to read off the 10 here, so we subtract it in both sides like this. We get 6 times 10 equal minus 4. Then we have the 10 over band on the other side. These set 2 cancel out, and only our dis left. Okay, now we solve this equation for d. We're going to insert this for d in our last equation on the next page. But there I also replace the third equation, so instead of writing this here, I take this version of the equation from now on, but I switched these at two sides. So I started with d equals, so it looks like this here, d equals this, what we just found. So now let's replace that in our last equation. So the fourth equation looks like this b plus d, so instead of we're going to write this here. So we have plus 4, so it's band of 4, and plus minus, this is minus 30 over band, and the other side we have the 9. Now can you see it that this is an equation where we only have base of variable in here? So that means that we can solve this equation for band. Then we found our value for how can we solve this for b. Well, this part of the denominator here to get boot of here, we can multiply by b. So we take the left side and multiply the whole side by bandle. So on the other side, we multiply b. So what do we get there if we multiply b with every element in our parentheses? Here we have b sub b equals fb, and then b minus 30 were. Bit's going to be negative, and b star 30 over bb cancels out, and only the 30 is left. And on the other side, we have our 9b. Now this is a quadratic equation. We have a part with b star, a part with band, a part where we don't have any b. So we can solve this by bringing everything onto one side. So take the 9 band, put it on the left side. By subtracting 9 bond both sides of the equation, we get b star, then negative 4b my 9b equal minus 30b. Then we have the 30 here, and on the other side, these two cancel out, and we have a 0. Okay, let's solve this equation for by. You can always use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations, but if the numbers look quite so 13 and 30, then you could also just factorize the left side here. And this is a much faster way to solve this equation. We have b squared here. So we know that b is going to be the first part of this parenthesis and also the first part of this parenthesis, because if we want to multiply, we have b tot of b, which equals b, then which would be the first part. And now we have to find this numbers in here. So we have to find a number. I call it x and another number I call it e, so that if we multiply these two numbers, so if we multiply x by y, do we have to get this number here? That doesn't have abs, so the 5 has to be the result. And if we add these two numbers, so if we do x plus y as our result, we have to get this number that is here in front of 4b, so the 13. So let's try and find two numbers. If we multiply them, we get our result of. We multiply them, we get a result of negative 30. This means that one number has to be positive and the other number negative. Otherwise, we don't get a negative result here. So for example, it would work to take 2 nos minus 15, right? This is a product of two numbers. Their result is nice 30, but it's not the only possibility that would work if we switch the sign. So we say we take 1 and multiply it by 15. This would also be a possibility to get a result of 30. There are more possibilities, but we don't have to go through all of them. We always have to check our con condition. Here the two numbers, dowage a result of 41. Let's try it. If we add 2 and 15, do we get a result of 13? Well, yes, because we have 2 and 15 here, which equals mentions 13. So this first combination already works. We don't have to check more of them, so we know that we found our numbers. It's 2 and 15, so insert them. Here now for our x, we take our positive number, our positive 1 in here, and for the second number, we just take the second number here, the minus 15, but also as with the sign in. And now it's easy to solve this equation here because we have a product this time. This equals 0. This is only possible if either this first part equals 0 or this second part equals 0. So we split this one equation into two equations. So either what we have in here, either the b plus 2 equals 0, 0, 11, 47, 0, 0, or what we have in here, the b minus 15 equals 0. Let's solve this cute little equation for b. We subtract 2 on both sides, so have bond the left side. This cancels out, and we have 2 minus 2. We found a. These are the values of a, b, c, and d.